Friends, with thousands of stocks to choose from, how do you go about selecting a few? If somebody gives you a tip, how do you ensure that the stock that they are suggesting is a good stock? So today's topic is very interesting because we are going to learn how to assess a stock in 5 minutes. So without wasting any further time, let's start. I have devised two tests which, if you run on a company, you can be 80 to 90% sure about the stock. The first test is the test of popularity. So for this, open screener.in. You can even open money control. I have opened screener.in. Now here, look for a company of your choice. Just search any company, say Reliance Industries. Now open the chart. In the menu bar, you will see chart. Open that. There, click on max. Max shows the maximum trend. So it shows the longest period, which will help you understand the long-term trend of the price in this company. Now check whether there is an overall upward trend in the price graph. Like here, as you can see, the graph is showing an upward trend from the year 2006. So friends, you can assume that the company's popularity has grown over the years because there is a slanting upward chart. Now second, check the volume of the shares which are being traded. Now how do you check the volumes? You trace the price with the mouse. There you can see in Reliance Industries that the shares are in significant quantities. There are high volumes of shares which are being bought and sold. That means there is liquidity in this stock. The market for this share has depth. This volumes, as you can see, you can just trace the mouse on the chart and you will see these volumes. Now, as against this, let's take example of a company which is only 2 to 3 lakh shares which are trading in the market. So even if 50,000 shares are being bought and sold, it will result in great fluctuation in the prices of the shares. So for this, the recent example is of Ruchi Soya. Let's look at the price chart. Here you will see that it is showing an upward trend, but when you trace the price, you will see that the volume is in few thousands which are actually being traded when the price went up. So when people started selling the stocks, the price dropped significantly. So this is the test of popularity, where you have to see whether there is an overall upward trend in the price chart in the long run and whether the volume of shares being traded is healthy. So if it meets both this criteria, you can say that the stock is popular, the liquidity risk is less, and this is the first test. Now let's move on to the second test. The test of sound financials. In the test of sound financials, you need to check 5 things. 1. Net profit. 2. Operating profit margin. Earning per share and PE ratio. Reserves and surpluses. Borrowings. First, let's look at net profits. You will find net profits in the profit and loss section in the menu bar. Here you will, if you scroll down, you will find that there are quarterly figures as well as yearly figures. You go to the yearly figures because in quarterly figures, they will show you only the latest statistics and you will not get a long-term perspective. So for that, you go to the yearly figures and you will find that 10 years of data on net profits is available here. Now observe the general trend in the profits. Like here, you can notice that there is an overall upward trend in the net profits. This shows that the company has grown steadily over the years. So from this, you can assume that from the long-term profitability perspective, the company has good continuity of business. This is about net profits. Now let's look at the operating profit margins. Operating profit margins are also shown in the same chart. Here, you will find operating profit margins are shown in the form of a percentage. Operating profit is, in technical terms, profit generated from operations of the company. So if you deduct the expenses incurred from operations from the income which is generated from the operations, you will get operating profits. You must have heard people saying कि ये product पे क्या आपका margin है or what is the margin in your business. This is operating profit margin. So now the formula for operating profit margin is operating profit divided by the total revenue. You don't have to do this math because all the figures of operating profit margins are available. They're available on screener and even otherwise they're available. So first, operating profit margin should be positive. It should not be negative. Operating profit margin should be stable or increasing. That is a good sign. If the operating profit margin is reducing, it is a cause of concern. Now let's take the first example of Reliance Industries. Look at its OPM. Reliance OPM is stable over the years and this is a good sign. Now let's take a opposite example. Let's look at the OPM of Alok Industries. As you see, this stock has taken a big hit and that's why we are observing its OPM. Now observe it from 2011 to 2015. OPM were consistently falling. Now see, in 2016 onwards, OPM was in negative, which shows that this company was in trouble. So if the investors would have followed this technique, which you are learning today, they would have avoided heavy losses which were caused in the past with respect to this stock. Now let's move on to the third item, that is the earning per share. So earning per share and PE ratio. In earning per share, it has to consistently rise. If it is consistently rising, it is a good sign. And for more details on PE and EPS, you can watch my earlier video. Next, we have reserves and surpluses. For looking at the reserves and surpluses, you will have to again go to the menu bar and click on balance sheets. Here you will find balance sheet figures of the last 10 years. So check the balance sheet. Here you will find reserves and surpluses are shown and they are positive. So you have to know the reserve and surpluses should be positive. They can either be stable or they can show an upward trend. For those companies who pay heavy dividends like Nestle, you will find that their reserves do not rise substantially because they are paying out the dividends. Whereas in case of profitable companies which reinvest their profit like Reliance, they do not pay heavy dividends, they reinvest their profit. You will find that their reserves will show an upward trend. So reserves should be either stable or should show an upward trend. Now please note that in 1920, due to the change in the dividend taxation policy, many companies have paid heavy dividends. So during that year, even if you see that there is a drop in the revenues, you don't need to panic because it may be because of the heavy dividends that have been paid out in that year. Now, after dividends, you will have to go to the borrowings. That is available in the same chart of balance sheet. So look at the extent of borrowings in the company. Borrowings are loans which are taken from the financial institutions. If there is a sudden increase in borrowings, while the reserves are reducing, it is not a good sign. So let us check the case of Alok Industries because that is an example that we are taking in this video. Look at the steady increase in the borrowings. From 2015, the borrowings have steadily risen. But notice the reserves at the same time. The reserves are going down. Now this combination of increase in borrowings with the reduction in revenues is not a good sign. So it will be wise to choose companies which do not aggressively increase borrowings because in the past, after the introduction of insolvency code, we have seen that many companies have gone into trouble because of aggressive borrowings. Because if they are unable to make payments, there is always a looming threat that the financial institutions will take control of the company under the insolvency code and the company will be stripped off and sold to the new buyers. So this is what has happened in case of Alok Industries. So if borrowings are increasing, they will increase. Even for companies which are doing good, borrowings will increase, but profit should also increase. The revenue should also increase. As the borrowings grow, they should not grow out of proportion. If they are growing out of proportion, then there can be a threat to the continuity of business. So to sum up, in the test of popularity, we have seen the price chart and the volume of shares which are being traded. In the second test, we have seen that this is the test of sound financials. You can see this 5 figures which will show how strong the balance sheet of the company is. If you run these 2 tests, you will, you can be 80 to 90% sure about the soundness of the stock. Friends, I hope that you like this video. Please let me know in the comment section. Thank you.